Welcome back, you guys. Welcome back. So glad that you are here. You might be joining us either live or on the replay inside the EQ Lab, our private Facebook community, or maybe you are catching this teaching on our podcast, Confessions of an Ex Therapist. These teachings that we do every week are available in a couple of different formats depending on what fits your schedule. And we are so happy to be able to connect with you in these ways, to be able to deliver this type of training and this type of teaching. So I'm seeing a couple of you jump on live. Hey, Natasha, it's always nice to see you. So if you're joining live, please say hello, drop an emoji, let me know that you are here. And if you're catching us on the replay inside our private Facebook community, then just give me a hashtag EQ so that I know which trainings, which topics are of interest to you. And we always like to know which pieces of content you are actually tracking with. So let me introduce myself really quickly. I know that we always have new faces around here each week when we deliver one of these trainings. My name is Dr. Shyamala. I am the founder of the Kiru Psychotherapy Clinic. This is a virtual clinic that delivers individual, couple, and family therapy. I am also the founder of the Kiru Coaching Clinic, where we deliver a 6-month coaching program specifically for high performing professional women that really want to learn how to leverage emotional intelligence in order to accomplish bigger goals. So, inside of the EQ code, we teach emotional mastery, we teach fearless communication, and we teach killer relationship management skills. So I'm so glad that you're here. I'm also, as you know, podcast host of Confessions of an Ex Therapist. I am a very proud mom of an almost 12-year-old. We're going to be talking about that journey today in today's teaching. And I am a fitness enthusiast. I'm a lover of really all things personal growth and expansion. So if this is our first time meeting, I am so grateful that you're here. I do not take it lightly that you've chosen to be a part of this community and that you've chosen to spend some time with me and with my team here inside the EQ Lab. So let me tell you a little bit about the EQ Skills Clinic. So if you're joining here inside the private Facebook community, this is our weekly teaching, our weekly training, and it is specifically for women. We teach emotional intelligence skills specifically for professional women that really want to unlock that next level of success. So the women that we work with privately are women that are looking to further integrate and better integrate the way that they are showing up personally, as well as the way that they are showing up professionally. These weekly teachings are designed to give you sort of a short nugget of training, nugget of sort of skills development in the area of emotional intelligence. And the reason that we are so passionate about emotional intelligence is because we know that 85% of our financial success, that's right, our financial success is tied to our ability to access and execute on the skills of emotional intelligence. These skills are related to our emotional mastery. These skills are related to how we communicate, how we negotiate, and how we lead. So if this sounds like something that is of interest to you, you are absolutely in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. So let's jump into today's teaching. Today's teaching is one that I would consider a little bit more personal. And if you follow me at all on social media, I'm probably the most active on Instagram. If you follow me at all on Instagram, you'll know that I do try to lead from a place of authenticity, of integrity, and really giving you a view into what it's like behind the scenes in my own life. And so I believe that authentic leadership, I believe that fearless leadership does require that us to be willing to show up with all of who we are. And so, quite recently, on Instagram and on Facebook, I shared my own journey with discovering just different parts of myself. I shared my own journey with discovering that I'm an adult with ADHD, and I shared this piece. Particularly in October, because it is ADHD Awareness Month. But really, what I wanted to highlight in this piece is that for me, my experience in discovering that I have ADHD as an adult, learning how to work with it, and really reframing it and understanding it as a superpower, and so, what I want to talk to you about today is a little bit of my own journey um, with another part of my mission, and that is motherhood, right? Motherhood is, if you've heard me speak at all, if you've watched any of my teachings, if you've listened to the podcast, at one time or another, I have talked about my incredible daughter. At the time of this particular training, she is almost 12 years old. And so becoming a mom almost 12 years ago, for me, absolutely changed the trajectory of my life. And becoming a mom, I would say, really helped me to crystallize my mission in this world. And the reason I bring up sort of some of the more personal posts, some of the more personal teachings that I share is because I think motherhood is really what allowed me to tap into the importance of vulnerability. Motherhood is one of those things. Um, if you're a parent and you're watching this or you're listening to this, I believe that if we really lean into all that it means to be a parent, we are also leaning into what it means to be a leader. I see my role as a parent as the most important leadership role that I carry and that I hold. I will often say that I consider myself, I've got all these different hats that I wear with running two businesses, and delivering care in two complementary but different modalities. But I will often say the most important hat that I wear, the most important title that I have is Chief Inspiring Officer to my incredible daughter. And so I want to talk about how that journey has actually transformed me as a human being, first and foremost. And secondly, how that has transformed my leadership and how I show up in other aspects of my life. I'm a very, very firm believer that how we do one thing is how we do other things. Actually, this is something that I say to my daughter a lot. I think it probably drives her crazy, and her, almost 12-year-old brain doesn't quite comprehend what I mean by that, but stay with me. How we show up in one area of our lives, how we choose to do things in one area of our lives, if we are committed to consistency and congruency, is also how we show up and how we do other things in our lives. And so for me, 12 years ago when I became a mom, it was also the time that I became a business owner. So there was a lot of birthing happening for me 12 years ago, right? I birthed my daughter, and I also birthed what I would say this passion, calling, and commitment to entrepreneurship and to leadership. And I didn't realize how massive and profound that was going to be for me 12 years ago. But it has turned out to be the most transformative journey of my entire life. And they happened concurrently. For me, it happened concurrently. I entered motherhood and I entered my professional mission in a very different way, all at the same time. And one of the things I will often say is that, as much as I love my work, if you've been following me for some time, if you've been tracking with me, you know how passionate I feel about my work. I feel my work has given my life so much meaning and so much purpose and so much energy and so much excitement. I also feel that my work in particular, given the very intimate, sacred, and personal nature of the work that I do and the transformation that I deliver, I really feel that all of it would have been a waste if I wasn't able to lead with love, integrity, and purpose in the life of my daughter. And so today, that's really what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about how motherhood has changed me, how motherhood has made me, I believe, a better leader. Um, Actually, if I were to be really honest, I believe motherhood has made me a better human. There are depths within my own soul and spirit that I have only been able to touch through the vulnerability of caring for my daughter and of leading my daughter. And I guess what I want you to think about as we're chatting today is, are there areas in your own life where you are called to more? You're called to do more? And are there areas in your own life where you are called to be more and to become more? I think that when um, we give in to our protective strategies, when we give in to the need to be in control, and when we give in to the tendency to find safety, I also think we rob ourselves and we rob the world of really being able to lean into our mission powerfully. And I know that this was true for me. I can 100% tell you with certainty that the woman you see before you today, the woman that you might see on social media or that you might see in the media or that you might see, leading a variety of different trainings and talks and things like that, I can with 100% certainty tell you that I am radically different on the inside compared to who I was 12 years ago. And motherhood is really what awakened that within me. So for me, becoming a mom, it truly was my fork in the road. It might not be your fork in the road. It might be some other life transition that is calling you to becoming more. It could be a completely different, could be a completely other life transition for you. For me, it was motherhood. It was my wake up call. It was the single greatest transformative experience of my entire life. I might get emotional during this one. Um, and it continues to be. It continues to be the most transformative calling and experience of my entire life. And for you, my friend, whatever that wake up call might be, whatever that transition might be, whatever that, and I'm going to say difficult, whatever difficult experience that might be, because let me tell you the truth, motherhood was and is not easy for me. It was never easy for me. It isn't easy for me. It's something that I have to approach with such an incredible amount of intentionality. And because it's something that I have to approach with such an incredible amount of intentionality, it has caused me and called me to reach very, very deeply into myself, into my soul, into my own work. It has caused me and called me to do very, very deep work on my own personal growth and expansion. And as difficult and as challenging and as emotional as that can be, I want you to know that I am personally very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for how deeply motherhood has pulled on me. I'm so grateful, and it's not always easy to say this. I'm so grateful for how challenging it has been for me. I'm so grateful for the fact that motherhood has allowed me to, I believe, become a better version of myself, a much more compassionate version, a much more passionate version, a much more purpose filled version of myself. So, I want to share with you today some of the things I struggled with personally as I was going through this journey. I want to share with you, who I was almost 12 years ago before becoming a mom and in those early stages of motherhood. These are parts of myself that I'm not necessarily proud of. These are not my most glamorous or emotionally intelligent traits, but this is truly these traits that I'm about to share with you are the traits that really led me to number one, take an honest and hard look at myself. And number two, recognize the need for growth, recognize the need to go deeper in my own work and on my own journey. And these are also the traits that allowed me to connect very deeply with my clients that were also struggling. So I want to share some of those with you today. So, as I mentioned to you earlier, I really do believe with every fiber of my being that if it had not been for my daughter, if it had not been for motherhood, I would still have been stuck in some of these old ways. So I want to share with you, five areas that I personally really struggled with that actually ended up being the greatest blessing for me because it was these five areas of struggle that really led to me deepening my personal mission and my professional mission. So, the first area that I struggled with was emotional maturity. And really, it was emotional immaturity that I was stuck in. I was very, very emotionally immature, is how I would put it as I reflect on the level and the depth of change that I have personally experienced in this area. So what do I mean by emotional immaturity? I think emotional immaturity shows up in a lot of different ways. I also think that many of the women I work with personally will tell me that they feel emotionally like a little girl. I think this is a very common experience. Emotional immaturity essentially comes about because we have never been taught the skills and the tools that we all need and deserve in order to understand our emotions, in order to be aware of our emotions, and in order to regulate our emotions. So if you often feel flooded with emotion, if you often feel like your emotions don't make sense, if you often feel like your reactions are don't match the actual situation or the actual circumstance, you too may be stuck in a level of emotional maturity that doesn't match who you are becoming. Okay. You might be stuck in a level of emotional maturity that doesn't match up, that doesn't align, isn't congruent with who you are becoming. I would love to know if this resonates for you. And I would love to know that whether you are live with me, whether you are catching this on the replay, whether you are catching this on the podcast. Reach out to me, find me on Instagram, send me a private direct message. I love hearing from you guys. Does this resonate for you? How you experience yourself emotionally. And listen, here's the thing about our emotions are 100% connected to our thinking. Okay. In fact, our emotions are driven by our thoughts, right? So if you're thinking, the thoughts that you're having, the emotions that you're experiencing, if they do not match who you know you are called to become in this lifetime, that is a really strong indication that there is some powerful, beautiful, transformative work that you can do in order to increase your level of emotional maturity. We often talk inside our private programs about going from the emotionally immature or emotionally reactive girl to becoming the emotionally intelligent woman. The emotionally intelligent woman, my friends, is a powerful badass. She's a powerful badass. It actually gives me goosebumps every time I see a woman achieve and experience this type of transformation. I have 4 more traits that I wanna share with you, but really, the other 4 traits I'm gonna share with you all tie back to emotional maturity, or really the term we like to use is emotional intelligence, okay? So the next trait that I was really stuck in for a long time, longer than I'd like to admit, is feeling sorry for myself. Feeling sorry for myself. I wanna know if that resonates for you. Do you find yourself when things don't go the way that you'd like, when people don't respond the way that you'd like, when people don't meet your needs or give you what you're looking for, when people disengage or disconnect or get upset with you or whatever opportunities don't open up for you, your business is not growing, you're not achieving the level of income or success that you're looking for, that you feel sorry for yourself? This, for me, was another toxic trait that I carried prior to my massive transformation and my massive shift that happened for me during my motherhood journey and during my journey in really becoming that emotionally intelligent woman. The next trait is playing the victim. Playing the victim. How often do you blame other people for your moods, your circumstances, your results, your reality? How often do you put the blame on other people or other circumstances, other things around you? It's never quite you. You're not responsible for your reality or your results. There's other reasons. It's how much education you have, it's how much money you have in the bank account, it's what you look like, it's because your partner doesn't support you. How often do you play the victim in your own role? In your own life, sorry. This 100% was a trait that I was famous for, playing the victim. Next one is not taking responsibility for your own happiness. I see this one so often. It is so common and it's a sneaky one. It's a very, very sneaky one. We can act as if we are taking responsibility for our own happiness. We can say all the affirmations in the world. We can post all the positive memes and positive thoughts and we can talk the talk, right? But inside, deep down, if we are still waiting for external circumstances, including other people, to change in order for us to feel happy, content, empowered, we are not taking responsibility for our own happiness. And this is definitely a trap that I was in and I can still fall into if I'm not consistently connected to my own growth and expansion. Next is simply putting your shit on other people. Putting your shit on other people. I did this all the time. I am still prone to doing this if I'm not careful with the people that I live with, AKA my husband and my daughter. Honestly, it is so easy to put our attitude, our mood, our unfortunate circumstances, the fact that we're not getting the results that we want onto other people. It is so easy to do this. And the longer we get stuck in these traits, in these habits, the longer we will be disempowered in our own lives. So let me just recap these 5 traits that will keep you stuck in your old ways. And I want to remind you, these are also the 5 traits that kept me stuck in my old ways as well. So, 1, emotional maturity. 2, feeling sorry for yourself. 3, playing the victim. 4, not taking complete, wild, radical responsibility for your own happiness. And 5, just putting your shit on other people. So I want you to think about these. I want you to, this could be a teaching that you listen to again. I want you to be really self reflective as you're thinking about these ideas. I want you to know as we wrap up today's teaching that I would have been nowhere close to showing up the way that I do in this version of who I am, for the people that need me most if I had not done this deeper work. The work that I am passionate about, the mission that I am called to, is actually to help other women access and unlock their own mission in a really powerful way. I know from personal experience, and I also know from almost 20 years of professional experience, that the only way to access lasting transformation and the only way to access real results is to do the deep inner work consistently with support and with accountability. So I'd like you to ask yourself, and if you're feeling comfortable, I'd love for you to reach out and I'd love for you to tell me, who needs you the most? Who needs you the most? Is it you? Is it somebody else? Is it a child? Is it a partner? Is it a team that you lead? Is it your clients? If you're a practitioner, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, an entrepreneur, is it your clients? Is it your patients? Who needs you the most? And who needs you to show up as your best self? And really, the question I want you to think about and that I want to leave you with is, who needs you to do your own work so that you can lead with love, courage, and gratitude? If something in today's message touched you, if something in today's message stirred something up inside of you, I want you to know that I absolutely get it. I understand the struggle. I know what it's like to be a woman who can feel really confident in many aspects of her life and still feel like she's not quite getting it in some of these other aspects when it comes to the emotional intelligence pieces, when it comes to emotion mastery, when it comes to communication, when it comes to relationship management. I absolutely understand the struggle on a very, very deep and very visceral level. I understand you. If you've been tracking with me, if you are listening, I'm going to make the assumption that my content and my teaching resonates for you. And if that is true, then I want you to know that on a very deep, very visceral level, I understand you. If there's anything that I can support you with, I want you to reach out. I want you to send me a message, and I would love to keep chatting with you about this. All right, my friends, have an amazing, amazing week, and we will see you here again next week for another training inside the EQ Skills Clinic. Have a great day, guys.